Hello everybody, this is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo. I just got finished doing a video all about making Coastal Cowgirl earrings. Now we're going to make a necklace to match it. So if you're interested on how I did the earrings, I will leave a link to that particular video at the end of this video. But in the meantime, let's get going with the necklace. So I have this dress. It's just a plain white dress. It has tiers. I think it looks kind of coastal cowgirlish. I wear brown boots. It matches the little brown beads on the end of this. And let me show you the earrings that we made. Aren't they cute? They're going to go really nicely with that. So now for the necklace. So originally I was going to make something like this. I was going to use some wax cording and maybe crochet some beads, hang a little shell. But when I picked out my beads, which we have, here's a shell I picked out, and all these howlite chips and all, guess what? These do not fit on this. So I had to go to plan B. All right, let's go ahead and lay out what I had in mind here. So I was going to start out by having 3 of these dyed howlite chips, and then I was going to put these red, they're saying they're coral. I'm not for sure they are coral. They were given to me. I did not buy them. I'm not a huge advocate of buying coral. It is not good for the planet. But anyway, let's do this. Got 3 over here, 3 over here. Then I was going to do a little drop here. And then in between, I was going to do these little daisy spacers. But this is how I thought I was going to do it on that wax cording, and I was going to use this wax cording. But that is not going to work. So plan B is I am going to go back to the wire. I'm using 20 gauge wire. It's the same wire I used for these earrings. And I'm going to make links. First thing I want to do, though, since I know this is how I want it to look, let me get these all out of the way. I don't want to drop any of my beads. I'm going to go ahead and wire the pendant. So I have my wire cutters, my flat nose pliers, my round nose pliers, and like I said, 20 gauge. This is aluminum wire, so it's very, very soft. I want to use the white howlite and this red coral. I'm going to call it coral, even though I don't think it's coral. They're calling it a bamboo coral, but anyway, I'm going to put the shell, the white shell, closest to the red bead. So I want to start out by first putting the beads on. And then I'm going to take my round nose pliers, and I want a pretty big loop. So I'm going to go down at the bottom, and I'm just going to start wrapping. And I may want to put a jump ring on. I just want to see how this is going to dangle. Yeah, I'm going to put a jump ring on. Let me grab a jump ring. Let me go ahead and wrap a loop. So I'm not going to wrap a big loop like I originally said. I'm going to come down here since I am going to use jump rings for the shell. And I'm just going to wrap a neat wrap there. We got a little bit of a wire sticking out, so we want to make sure we tuck that in so it doesn't scratch our neck when we're wearing it. Still kind of feel it a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to move those beads down. I'm going to wrap another loop on this side. Again, about the same width down there. I want to clip this and tuck in the wire. And we have ourselves a link. And I'm actually going to be making several links with the other beads. And that same technique I'll be using over and over again. So I'm not going to show it to you over and over again. But let's finish this up. We want to hang our shell. And I'm going to get about an 8mm jump ring. And I'm going to open it up. I had to open it pretty wide so I could get it onto this shell. Put it on there. Close it up. And there is our pendant. And you know, you could actually make a pendant like this and just hang it on just a plain chain. I do that quite a bit. I am going to get another jump ring. This time probably, let me think, maybe a 5mm. I'm going to get a 5mm. And I'm going to set that aside. I'll need it later. But now I need to get these all wired up. So we have the pendant done, and look what I've been working on. So we want to make sure that we get the right ones in the right spot. So I have 3 of these dyed halides in blue, and I've got the daisy spacers, and on one end of this particular one I have a little seed bead. That is going to be at the very end. And then we have, of course, that. I want to make sure this one does not have that seed bead on one of the ends, so that's going to go there. And gotta make sure I got the right ones. Okay, see, that one has a seed bead, so that's going to be at the end. And this is what our necklace is going to look like. So I know I got one jump ring out, but I'm actually going to need more than just one, because we're going to connect all these with jump rings. I think I would like to use, I think these are 5mm. I'll just get a bunch of them out here. And what we're going to do is open them up and start putting our necklace together. And make sure to close them up. Now you can use a split ring if you wanted to. I'm not going to. Actually, the only way that these are going to fall apart if somebody actually yanked on your necklace. And honestly, if somebody yanked on my necklace, I would rather it break than me choke. So I don't typically use split rings on a necklace for that reason. Besides, who should be pulling on your necklace? All right, now let's do this end. And I am going to need a little bit more. Now, if you wanted to do more of these, you could go all the way around. I just wanted this to be in the front. So I'm going to have to add something on the ends here. And I could do one of a couple of things, and I'm trying to decide what I want to do. right now as I'm putting this together. I know this sounds silly, but sometimes I just wait and let the piece talk to me. Okay, now we've got to put this together. I think I want a bigger jump ring for that. Probably we will do an 8mm because we're going to put all 3 of these inside. Open it up so we have this, and I may have to do some switcheroo around here and there. Oh, blah, blah, can't talk. A little bit of switching things out a little bit, or adjusting, not really switching. Wrong phrase there. Okay, see how that's, see how that's hanging? It's sideways. I don't want it sideways. So I'm going to have to fix that. Oh, maybe it's not. Let's see. No, it's not. It's not sideways. Okay. There we go. If it's like this, when you're wearing it, you're going to have to kind of move things around, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think once this is on my neck, it's going to lay flat. But isn't that pretty? Now, here, let's get the earrings out. It's going to be a fun piece. So, I could use this, but I think I want to use some chain. Let me go get my chain out and see what I have. So I have this chain, and it is stainless steel. I think that's what I'm going to use. I also need a clasp, so let me go get a clasp. All right, I got my clasp. I went ahead and tried it out. It is working. I need to have something to put the clasp on with, so I'm using, I think these are 5mm jump rings. One is to use as part of the clasp. The other one's going to be on here on the chain. And then I have to hook the chain to here and here, so I'm using 4mm jump rings for that. Let me get these out of the way. Oh, and I need a ruler. So basically what I'm going to do is measure out how long I want this. So depending on how long you want it, I'm not going to give you exact measurements, but I'm going to tell you how I'm going to do it. I will get a ruler, and I'm going to measure from here to here with the jump rings on. Okay? And then I'm going to do the math to figure out, like if I wanted an 18-inch necklace, how much more I need. Like subtract this from 18, and that's how much you'll need, and then you're going to cut this in half. I think I'm going to do a 17-inch necklace. One other thing too, this right here is typically about an inch. You probably hear my grandkids out there yelling. They're just having fun. So sorry about that, but you know, kids are having fun. So back to this. This is about an inch. So for instance, if you wanted an 18-inch necklace, you're going to subtract the 1 inch. Add this and this. I hope that makes sense. Let me get a ruler. All right, here we go. This is better. So I'm measuring this, including the clasp, which it actually came to about 8.5 inches. I want a 17-inch necklace, so I need another 8.5 for the chain. Okay, so once I got that all cut, by the way, if you're going to cut a stainless steel chain, instead of using your really nice wire cutters, you need to use something like this. This is a memory wire cutter. All right, so I only need half of this on each side. So I'm going to have to cut this in half. But what I'm going to do first is go ahead and attach this. So we have this end. Make sure everything's closed up. Open this end. Close her up. All right, so what I do is I'll match these so they're even, and I just go down and I find the end and I just cut that. Like so. So we have two pieces. Now all we have to do now is put one end close her up. And open up this other end. Put the claw, the lobster claw on there. I'm really shaky. Whew, shaky there. It's dinner time. There we go. We have our necklace done. Nope, got it on backwards. There we go with our earrings. I'm going to wear it this Sunday. I can't wait. Tell me what you think of the Coastal Cowgirl look. And thanks for joining me. Y'all have a great day. This is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo signing out for now. Bye-bye.